and the institution you represent?
Yeah, I'm Dan Green. I'm part of the Institution of Structural Engineers.
Well, I'm Manchester Association of Engineers.
Philip Isgar from the Institution of Civil Engineers.
Richard Martin from the Manchester branch of the Royal Economic Society.
Ben Parry, Young Rail Professionals.
Oliver Farrell, Institute of Mechanical Engineering.
Ignacio for the Institution of Diesel and Industrial Engineering.
Lewis Fung for the Institution of Engineering Technology, IET.
And if you could give advice, I'm going to open up with a question, and whoever feels free to contribute, that'll be great. What advice would you give of a young yourself when you began your career as an engineer?
Sorry, what advice would you give young engineers?
Yes, at the beginning of their
What was that?
Yeah, a young you.
A young you?
Yeah.
In some ways, I'd disagree with the previous speaker. I think it's a big advantage to start with a small company, because you've got to learn the nuts and bolts of your trade. And if you start with a really big company, you get sort of a small cog in a big machine. So I actually started to work with a very small company, and on reflection, I think that was exactly the right thing to do. But the other point that he made is exactly right. Get as much experience as you can. You've no idea how things will turn out. The most difficult thing to cope with is people. Technology is easy. It follows the rules. People, they don't. Get to know about people, dealing with people, working with people. Sometimes that's really difficult. They don't do as they're told. They don't follow the rules. They're awkward. They make trouble with you. But you have to cope with it. So pitch in, get as much experience as you can, learn your craft, and things will turn out all right.
I agree with Alan on starting with a small company. I started at 16 and I was on £400 a year, which is £7, 6 shillings a week. Right.
So start with a big company then.
Right. So the bottom line is, when you're that age, money's not the most important thing on your brain, but actually it does help when your mum actually says, if you put the £5 in the building society and the £2, 6 shillings is your spending money, yeah? So think about what money really means to you at that age and what you really need your money for. So I think starting with a small but it does give you opportunity, because you're actually part of it. You're actually part of a cog. In fact, you could be a cog, especially when you're making the tea. Yeah? You can be a very important cog that actually makes things go round. So just take a look at what you want out of the value, or what value you can add to the organisation in which you want to go.
I'd say, talking to my younger self, it would be, especially through your teen years, you'll have a preconception of what an industry or a sector is, or part of engineering. So I like planes. In my head, you have to fly planes. You don't. You can do something else. There is a variety of things. So I was so obsessed and focused on one thing, I missed other things that I was interested in for a long time. So keep an open mind, read your subject, read around it, look at what other people do with the thing that you're interested in. It doesn't have to be the one flagship job that's the big sexy headline. It's not. There's a whole group and team of people behind it that you can be part of.
Yeah, I think if I think back to kind of 3.5 years ago when I finished my degree and I got my job, and there's kind of that lag time in the summer between leaving university and starting a job, and you kind of think, what are they expecting from me? When I turn up, are they expecting me to and the point is, then no one's expecting you to turn up with all the answers, no one's expecting you to turn up in a brand new industry and get it straight away because you've got a job, because you've got a degree, sorry. What they are expecting you to do is turn up with passion, turn up with enthusiasm, turn up with the capability, turn up with what you have learned, listen and gather as much as you can once you arrive, ask questions, There's nothing better, and people aren't expecting you to not ask questions. Ask questions, grow, learn, develop, and then you can pass that down to the people that come in kind of below you. And I feel like I need to come to your rescue a bit. I think starting with a big company offers benefits, but I suggest that regardless of whichever way people started out, they're going to recommend whatever they did. So maybe make up your own mind on that one.
You know, I've started with controversy. That's fine. You know, we're a small company. We certainly struggle finding graduates because they all get mocked up in the big companies anyway. So, but anyway, everyone's different. The point is, if you get out there and you know, as early as you can, talk to, build your network, get to understand people, and get experience, you'll find your own way. You know, you'll be employable, and the opportunities will open for themselves. It doesn't come automatically on your plate. You've got to go and find it.
Yeah, well, I agree with all of you. Take the most of your situation, but also if you are particularly interested in a specific topic, in a specific job, ask for it, make opportunities happen. It's up to you to ask for things. Graduates are in a position that where we are learning. If you make the case to your management, it's a good opportunity for you to do something that you like, and they will also see value on you because you show yourself as a proactive person. So make opportunities happen.
Okay, I'm not going to side with whether to join a big company or a small company. So what I'll do is I'll give advice for what students can do before they apply for a job. I think first things first, perhaps find say a topic which interests you. Once you've identified that topic, start looking on the websites on the engineering institutions, which you can learn more technical details about that area of engineering you want to learn about, and then you can then find out more about events which that institution offers. Most institutions offer, let's say, life skills workshops, technical presentations, factory visits, and social events, and some of these events are free. And then when you actually go to these events, you get an opportunity not only to learn more technical skills, but you can also network with other, let's say, engineers and potential future employers you might need to apply for a job for in the future. And if you want to take that step a little bit further, why not offer to volunteer for one of these institutions? That will definitely give you these sort of people skills which are very important for you to learn, because you'll be exposed to, let's say, either organising events or even running an event, and then you learn to work in a team, communicate, and sort of take ownership and responsibility for tasks which you'll be sort of proud to achieve.
Thank you.
Whatever you're doing, just be passionate about something.
Yeah, embrace it. Perhaps that leads us very good to the next question. If you have interviewed someone, what do you look in them? And if you haven't, how do you prepare for an interview yourself?
I'll repeat myself, have a passion.
Definitely second that one.
Certainly, if you go in for an interview, you've got to do some swatting of thoughts. And I've interviewed a large number of people in my life, and what I don't like is you get some, why do you want a job? Oh, I just want a job. Well, what do you know about the company? Well, nothing. And you know, you should swat up about the company before. Go prepared to ask them questions. Make sure they look interested in it. Tell them what you want to do, where you want to go. Look as though you're going to make a contribution, not just how much money am I going to earn. I didn't mention that because, as Phil said, that will follow. When you start work, the main thing you need to do is get experience, get on the ladder, learn something. You'll get paid the rate for the job. You know, a few £100 here and there doesn't make much difference. That will follow on. And you should do what you think will make life an interesting life. Don't just say, I want to earn this much money, because that's, you know, you'll get something. Go what interests you and make sure your employer thinks you're interested and enthusiastic.
I think Alan's right, because as you, when you're 16 or 17 and you go in, and the interesting thing about me was that having done surveying and technical drawing from being 13, I had something actually to offer. And I could, so look at what you can offer them at the moment without being too clever. Just be very basic and say, this is what I can do now, I'm willing to learn. But look at what they can do actually for you. I mean, the way this company picked me up and said, we'll put you through 1 day, a week, 1 evening, technical college to do this, this and this. That's a big gift, and somebody's prepared to pay actually for your training and development. So that, you're going to take that part of the equation as well. So look at what you can offer, as Alan's made quite rightly made the point, but look at what they're going to give you and don't try and be too smart. If you're too smart with them, you know, you ain't going to get on, because they're going to see you as a challenger. Nothing wrong with challenging in the right time, the right place, but don't challenge before you get the job.
I'd say, on a similar vein, I try not to be too smart. Don't be afraid to say when you don't know an answer to a question. I've done interviews with graduates before, and they tie themselves up in knots, and sometimes you'll get an industry-specific question that they don't expect you to know. Don't worry about saying I don't know, but if you do say it, try and walk them through the logic in your head. You know, that's the key piece of engineering. It's the way you think, it's the critical thinking skills. That's what you were looking for when we hire. So if you don't know the answer to a question, tell them, but then walk them through to what you think the answer is. Don't assert that answer if you don't know it. But if seeing someone lay that out in front of me, I don't know that specific one, but I'd assume you might do this because of X, Y, and Z. That's a fantastic recovery from a question that they might not feel they've done too well. Admitting failures and how you've recovered from them, again, it's not, you don't have to be perfect. And if anything, you want someone who in your company that will admit, okay, I've done wrong, but this is how I'm going to fix it. That's another thing you can show off, and you know, it's a skill set we're looking for.
Do your research, be enthusiastic, and feeding into my previous answer, which is no one's expecting to turn up with all the answers on day one.
So I went on a course on how you actually hire and keep good people. So we're getting better. But the one thing they said was, well, make sure you recruit someone that's done the job that you're looking to do within the last 3 years. So, you know, as a young graduate, well, if you've only got a degree and nothing extracurricular, you've got nothing to go on. But you know, if the CV's got extracurricular things in there, other activities that you've been doing, it suddenly presents you as a personality just through that piece of paper, and that to me makes a huge amount of impact. To saying, well, actually, what else? You know, who are you, and how do I know that you're actually going to do the job? Because everyone's got a degree, but what else? What's going to make you succeed in the job?
That's a very good point. All CVs for a person who just graduated from university look the same. If you want to make the difference, look for what you like doing, or if you do volunteering, things like that. Put it in your CV, your hobbies, something that can say something about you.
Okay, so if you want to stand out from the rest, definitely you have to research the company and then try and understand the job spec first, and then identify and reflect on yourself. What can you actually offer to fulfill that job spec? Because every job's different, and they're not looking for Mr. Perfect knows everything. At the end of the day, the interviewer wants the person who's suitable for that kind of job.
Can I make just an anecdote to stand out in my CV? I used to put when I was applying for jobs my hobbies, so things that I do in my free time. Interviewers look at that. For example, I used to do gliding, and they ask you, oh, I see that you were doing that. Maybe you to connect with that person. I also do gliding or whatever, or you do something related to remote control, is something that if you connect with them, that will help you. That's how it goes.
Or shout, take up learning.
You should never give up either, and never take it personally. When I was a very young man, I was turned down by Arabs for a job. And told not to apply again. About 30 years later, I was an expert witness in court, and I won a very major victory. I took delight in reminding the guy about this incident.
Very good. Did you ever apply it again?
I was a bit old then.
Yeah. I'm going to read one more question. You can tweet your questions or say them out loud now. If anybody has one, you can interrupt me and participate. This one question is, have you learned from a failure?
My autobiography. I guarantee, I said to young people, I can never guarantee you success. What I can absolutely guarantee you, and I'm sure everyone will agree, I absolutely guarantee that in your career something will go wrong. I absolutely guarantee it. And we have to learn from that. We have to learn from each other. Engineering is, the history of engineering is the history of things going wrong. You know, the gentleman there just said, catastrophe. Product went wrong. Okay, we've learned from that. And it happens to us all. The very major disasters in engineering, I showed you a picture of Fukushima. We all have to learn from those events. Yeah. So everyone, if anybody here says they haven't had a failure, the answer is, I haven't had it yet.
Or the line.
You've had plenty of failures, haven't you?
Yeah, we have. But the interesting thing
I
about...
was banned from Sellafield 3 times.
I've never been that bad. No, the interesting thing is that sometimes perception of what a failure is to yourself, it can be very personal. And actually, you take it harder than what it really is. But one of the things that we learned was that if you actually share your problems very, very early, that's the way to go. I had 5 years working with Bechtel, big American EPC giant, and as a program manager with them, they had one rule, and that is, if you're struggling and you need help, what you do, you put your hand up and say, guys, I need some help here, I will come and help you. If you try to solve it yourself and you dig your hole bigger, then actually you might as well stay there because we ain't going to help you. We can't help because you've not told us. So the big message was, show them, say, guys, you made a mistake, whatever it is, doesn't matter, we'll come and help. You try to cover it up, we can't help you. And that's a big message. Be honest with yourself.
Echo that, and I think the whole air industry is based on it. Is it's how safety comes. Is say what you've seen, and if you declare it early, there's a team of people that will help you fix it and will help you learn. If you sit on it for yourself, you're going to get worse because you're just relying on yourself. You're panicking. You're worried. Yeah. Generally, the people that you work with will be good people, and they want to get through because you're all in the same boat together. You work for the same company, or you've got the same shared vision. The way you learn is by admitting and then bring on the expertise. And don't be afraid to take it on. It's not a slight on yourself if someone else's idea fixes it. You know, you don't have to fix everything yourself just because it's your problem. Doesn't mean it has to be your solution. It's, you know, by learning and drawing together, that's how you all succeed. And you know, you'll pay it back. You'll help others at other times. So just be confident to say, "I need help."
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. I think from what I've seen so far, the biggest way to reduce the risk of failure is just by having really strong, good communication. You find in engineering offices, or at least in our engineering office, there's a drive towards people emailing each other when really they're like 3-minute walk away. So just go and see the guy or the girl or whoever it is. And if you can't go see them because they're halfway around the world, a phone call is better than, it's far too easy to misconstrue something or get the wrong end of the stick via an email, particularly if their English isn't their first language. Or there's a time difference, so your emails are delayed, or whatever. The chap that did the presentation about bridges earlier, he said he eventually got everyone in one room for a workshop, and that was the equivalent of several, hours and hours of phone calls. And I found that on a project I was running quite recently. We were having one team in Mansfield in the UK, one team in Barcelona, and they were having weekly technical calls and struggling to get it aligned. So we flew the team from Barcelona into Mansfield. I think the chaps from Mansfield were a bit gutted we didn't do it the other way around. But within 2 hours, resolved it and everything, and everyone then understood what everyone was trying to achieve, and we kind of got to the bottom of it. So communication probably is, in my opinion, the biggest key to minimising the risk of, not eliminating, minimise the risk of failure.
Well, I've shown you a couple of our, I wouldn't necessarily call them failures in the end. We got there in the end, but we are so much stronger for across the company. Like I showed with Alstom, in the right culture, people pull together, and you end up, and it makes you stronger. So, but behind those, there were hundreds of other applications that went, were absolutely spot on. So you can't help but you've got to be trying to be professional and be good at what you do. So that means that extra half an hour to finish off what you're trying to do, and that does count. That can be the difference between success and failure.
I cannot see much yet. I don't have that much experience, but so far what I've seen is every problem has a solution. So don't worry, don't panic. As they say, ask for help. It will be fine.
As long as it's just about money and not people safety.
Well, yeah, I'm not speaking about safety, of course. I'm speaking about being late in a project, having some calculations wrong, and you say, oh shit, we submitted it yesterday. Everything has a solution. Don't panic. Every failure is a lesson.
Engineers inherently want to help, because if you're asking them something, then that's almost a compliment, saying, okay, well let me try and help you. We're there to help each other, and people will help. And it's interesting that the emails. If you send an email, they'll answer the questions you've asked in the email. If you phone them up, suddenly find you ended up, finding out 3 times more than you ever would have done. So that's an important part of life. Yeah.
Knowing when to push the boundaries is good as well. I spent 20 minutes talking about 11 failures. It didn't turn out to be failures, but yeah, that was a good opportunity to push.
I agree with everything people have said here. I think what I'll add to that, because it's not really been mentioned, is prevention is better than cure. So don't be afraid or get complacent to just spend that extra 10 minutes to double check something, or ask somebody else to check your work. Because you generally do have a tunnel vision when you're the only one looking at one design. If you get somebody else who's not looked at it before, fresh pair of eyes, he might spot something you've not noticed before, and that comes back to communication and teamwork. You can't just do it on your own. Just don't be afraid to talk to people, especially early on.
If we're going to change the world like we're showing, the challenges we've got, we're not going to do it with tiny incremental changes that the big corporations are going to allow to happen at any one time. There's got to be big changes. It's got to be some major shifts that are happening. So so I was looking at that's where the small companies have got the chance to be creative, and that's where. But we as small companies need young, fresh-minded, new ideas to go, why are we doing it that way? We can do it another way.
Sometimes I think when you expect that the risk factor is there, you actually analyze things a bit better. It's when we get comfortable with certain things, it's when I think there is a risk that we're not paying attention, perhaps. sometimes. Anybody? Yeah.
So there's been a lot of talk about like career progression. You're on a path that you don't know where it's going, but it's a path. But in a world where there's such major shifts happening, sometimes you might have to have a career regression or maybe a sidestep. Has anyone ever had any experience of that, where they've had a set of skills and they've been on a career path, but actually they've wanted to change direction and head somewhere else, and how do you manage that?
Well, I wanted to fly planes and that didn't go too well. Admit it. You'll know if you're not happy in your current work, or you're not. It's coming to that realisation of admitting, right, I need to try something new is the first step, probably the hardest. But don't be afraid to put yourself out for something new. You've got transferable skills, know how to sell yourself. Engineering degrees of any discipline, it sets you up with that. But the hardest decisions up here is making that decision for yourself. I can try and be your time. You'll know, okay, I need to do something about this. I'm unhappy with my work. I'm unhappy in what I'm trying to achieve. And happiness from your work is key, because that's what makes you successful. If you're passionate about doing this job today and I'm going to finish it, great. If you're, how do I get around this? Or, how do I minimise my effort? Then you need to think of something new. But the world's your oyster. Don't get too worried about big geopolitical changes and everything else, especially at your stage. There will be work for you. You'll find it.
I did make the point on my last slide that these days one career may not be forever. You might just want to look at how you start to plan your life ahead. I'm not saying that you won't always be a civil engineer or you won't always be a mechanical, but you might actually step into different areas. I mean, when I first started doing simple design work on a drawing board, quite a number of people did, who would have actually thought about computers, 3D modelling, do it on screen? I mean, these days, trying to work this thing here to put the presentation on, I'm struggling. No, I don't have those skills, but I know what I want to do. As long as you can get some help along that way, you're okay. But don't put yourself into a position where you think, I'm going to do this forever. Start to think ahead, start to plot your course of action. I was lucky in actually working halfway around Europe, superb. Your placements with Ulster and all that great stuff. My placements were actually North Wales and Cumbria. But they are actually. But don't be over precious. Just think about what you want to do yourself.
Yeah, there is an ideal job out there. So.
The reality is, stuff happens just by chance. And what the gentleman friend said about never annoying people is very important. I tell you the story about how I got involved in the London Eye. Okay. The London Eye project was in some difficulty, and the contractor flew over from Holland to ask me if I'd help. He asked me because I'd stuck up for him in a crisis. And this was at the biggest project, the tallest building in London, right in the middle of the city. Well, the director said to me, have you ever done it before? I said, no. Does the client know what he wants? I said, not really. Is it a spec? No. Is there a code of practice? No. What happens if we get it wrong? We'll bankrupt the company. He said, that sounds like a good project. Now I've done 5 since. I've worked on ones in New York, Dubai, Beijing, Singapore, Melbourne, Hong Kong, somewhere else.
So it doesn't disturb you, but would you speak to someone in charge?
Crisis. When I saw the policeman coming through the door, I thought, hello. So it's just,
Opportunities come, opportunities go. Business opportunities come up. Seize the day.
Yeah, I mean, I suspect it's probably quite organic. I mean, for example, as you know, I've not been out of university very long. My degree is very much a mechanical engineering degree. I spend now about half my week project managing a software development project. So that's project management and software development, neither of which are even closely aligned to kind of a pure mechanical engineering role. The rest of my week is a pure mechanical design role. So I guess, yeah, and that happened very organically and then started small and then expanded to be half my week. So I think there's it happening organically and just rolling with it, and if that makes you happy, that's fine. And I guess in some cases, you may actively choose, no, I want to move because it's not right for me at this moment in time. I feel I need to add some padding because...
Has that answered your question?
I think it's a good point to, I think a few people have discussed being in your comfort zone. How comfortable you do. Like I'm not comfortable loading that USB, so I need help. And what happens is you start to feel not threatened, but you feel I can't do it. You're going to ask. Just put your hands up and say, I'm struggling here, guys. I can't do this. Can anybody help me? And you'll find people will come at you from all directions to actually help you.
I think there's another aspect to it. When I first started out, I was told two things. First of all, as has been said already, your degree or your training teaches you how to think. It teaches you how to approach a problem, and that you take as a life skill right the way through your life. And the second thing is that your initial study has a half-life of about 5 years. I hate to tell you that, but within 5 years of getting your degree, half of what you have will need to be replaced with new information. In other words, your studying doesn't stop when you get your degree. That's just the beginning of your career. And it may well be in that new load of information you've got that there's a whole different part of a career, a whole new set of opportunities that you need to explore. I've changed countries 4 times, restarted my life in different places. There's no real problem because you use exactly the same techniques to start again in different career areas. So change is not a big issue. In fact, with the way the world is moving at the moment, change is becoming more and more a part of life. And you have to be able to manage the change. Sorry, I was just filling.
Thank you. We are safe, by the way. Everything is okay. We will do 2 more questions. Has anybody thought of a question?
I've got one.
Yes.
Particularly the house Swiss guy. Fascinating. What you did is not just mechanical engineering. You took on a hell of a lot because you actually took a company from nothing to quite a degree, and you got married and had children as well. So what I would say, with that level of involvement, and this will go for all careers in a very technical environment, how do you manage to keep yourself sane in your wind down time? And I'm not suggesting hitting the bottle or anything like that, because I think that's going to be very important to be in a career day in, day out over a period of time. How do you personally manage that?
It's a good question. I've certainly had many years and plenty of bags under my eyes from lack of sleep along the way. But I suppose inherently I'm driven, so I want to succeed. I want to. This where we are now is still to me only a fraction of what we can become. But it comes back to what was said. Have fun. In my case, my wife was one that says, "Okay, you can work hard. That's fine. I support you, but we're going to go out now." But then the other thing is, what you've suddenly found from the social situation, no matter what you do, when you read a book that's different or do something else, you always learn something from it. You pick up everywhere in life, even just conversation in the pub, you'll suddenly find the next day that, hang on a minute, that's another way of thinking about something. And that feeds itself. Because if you're inherently interested to go out there and do things and push and learn more, then it just makes it, to be able to go to bed and go, yes, we're on the right way. And also celebrate success. Because there's, maybe I've dwelled on some of our failures, actually, with the success is there. because in engineering is, well, I've done that, great, move on. What's the next problem? What's the next challenge? But actually, you know, there's some amazing things that have been done, and that's, I think, within the industry, we keep quiet about the amazing things we do.
I tried to fit 250 hours of project work into 150, and I got to a point where I realised that it's not sustainable and you will burn out. And what I found was I was trying to work 12, 13 hours a day, and on the train and every moment I could. But that doesn't do any good, so what you need to do is find your escape time, and it might be reading a stupid book that you really enjoy, it might be watching a bad program, whatever it is. Find your escape time that lets your brain just forget everything else so you can come back to it.
So it doesn't have to be intellectual, it can be
No.
just letting off steam, basically.
Yeah.
But when you're young, you've got more energy. You know, you can work more. So that's the time when you do it. You've got to work hard. You can't avoid long hours because there'll be difficult things to do. If you want to push it, you know, it is that extra half hour, 2 hours, 3 hours that will get to the point that then, you know, 3 years in, then I can have a holiday and not get ill. That was the key: to go on holiday and not get ill. So when you can do that, you've achieved it. Turn your phone off on a holiday.
Oh, just, yeah.
If you have a plan what you're going to do from 10 years from now, and if you think that that's what you're going to do.
Me?
Yeah.
So I don't plan on what I'm going to do.
Yeah, 18 years from now, what do you plan?
18 years from now, sorry, I've been the coffee. It's a good point because...
So burial and not cremation.
Sorry. Well, it's funny you should say that.
I was going to say about the can of worms here, but that's not particularly sensible.
One of my career changes, I used to run the chimney section without Loma. I met an engineer who spent all his life doing chimneys. And in his will he wrote he wanted to be cremated because he wanted to end his life as he spent it.
Your question's a good one, and it depends how old you are. I mean, Alan's 71, 73. 73, going on 33. I'm 64, going on 34. Because yeah, but the enthusiasm in the growth is still there because we want to carry on doing things we want to do. The thing that pushes me out is so is my wife. She says, "What are you doing here? Can you not go out somewhere?" You know, now, she doesn't mean it in a bad way, but she's saying, you know, we all need our own space, and you do what you do, just get out and do it. So, you know. I think you're right to actually look ahead, but don't look too far.
I think that's where I am at the moment. I've spent the last 10 years having plans and going from here to here. I'm in a job where I'm happy, so I'm going to learn a trade through it. Settle down, put down some roots, and then come up with a new plan. That's pretty much where I'm at.
Yeah, I wouldn't plan 10 years ahead. I think that's too far. I plan to be happy and enjoy my life in 10 years, that's it.
But you could look at it and say, okay, well, what if you were to look back in 30 years and say, what would I regret having not done? You know, travel. Do you want to travel? Because you could be comfortable in your job, but actually you may never then get the chance to travel because, you know, I had a gap year, I had the pleasure of travelling around the world. Now it's short hops to Europe and back. I haven't got the time at the moment to be able to do that. But so if you look at, you know, that's one aspect of things. So if you look at things, okay, what just almost from your heart, what would you like to do in your life? It doesn't have to make every single decision, but there's still that vision. Like with a company, you still have to have a vision as to, you know, roughly, you know, what is the, what's the dream?
I would give you one serious piece of advice. Engineering, I'm sure all the people here will agree with it. We've had fascinating careers, and as you said there, you can be consumed by it. You know, there's jobs, you know, it's a wonderful experience, exhilarating, all the things. And time passes extremely quickly. You have to make time for other things. You have to be positive about it. Because the years go by, you wonder, did I ever do what I thought I should have done? So it's really easy to be consumed by work because it's a very enjoyable occupation. There are other things in life, and you should make sure you do them.
I agree.
And that's the same thing when things go wrong. You ask yourself when things go wrong, does it really matter? Most of the time, it doesn't really matter. It's not that. And so you keep things in perspective.
I'd like to hope we can get a mortgage deposit sometime in the next 10 years. That'd be quite good.
It's as well as it's been a bit of advice for me as someone at the beginning of my career. It's also to give a bit of insight to any students in the room. But there's been a lot of talk about effective planning and managing your time in your job appropriately. In my experience, granted, I've only worked for a massive company so far, and there's been times where, unfortunately, I've had a sickeningly small amount of stuff to do, but then there's times like now where there is never enough time in the day to get done what you need to get done. And a particular difficulty that I come across working in a big company, which it might be the same in a small company, it might not be, is that as an engineer doing the work that needs to be done, I and other team members that I work with, we find that we're driven not so much by what we want to do in our jobs and what we want to achieve, but we're driven by people several rungs up the ladder from us who control the budget and unfortunately tell you what you need to do and when, and essentially exert a degree of control without fully understanding the job that they are there to do, the job that we as engineers are there to do. So what advice would you give someone that needed to try and manage that I don't want to say relationship because I barely speak to upper management at the moment, but
I understand exactly what you said. Don't need to explain. We've all been through it. There's two big issues here. One that we've alluded to today. One is that the problem with the problem with all industry is this cyclical thing. Second big problem, look at the Royal Academy of Engineers. The prediction of the demand for engineers through now and in the future greatly exceeds the supply. We've already heard the demand come from the rail industry, the nuclear industry, and that means that the pressure on the existing workforce, and the signs of it now, can become grossly excessive. If you give in to that, the risk is disaster. Somebody was talking about mistakes. Human beings make mistakes when they're under pressure, when they're being pushed too much, and when the situation you're talking about happens. So my advice is stand up to them. You need a certain amount of time to do the job. If somebody says to you, that's the budget, well, it's unfortunate, that's their problem, not your problem in one sense. To do the job properly takes a certain amount of time. And if people are overloaded, it's a grossly inefficient way to working because they're constantly juggling balls up and down. It's fun for a while, it's exciting, but in the long run it spells disaster. The only way to do the job properly, and we've heard about the difficulties of predicting time. I've never in my entire career met anyone who can predict accurately what time it actually takes. I've pondered about it myself for ages and I've never figured it out, and I've been doing it for a long time. It's exceedingly difficult to do.
I've got the formula now though.
Well, I just explained to you. My solution is that it's pi times, this is over my dead body, will take longer than that. But that is the reality. And you don't make the workforce more efficient by constantly pressurising, make them less efficient. And I don't know how we solve that problem, but the UK as a whole, the indications are at the moment that there won't be enough engineers, and how we will do it without recruiting foreign engineers, even worse. And there'll be competition between different branches to provide that. And the pressure on individuals in the company will become too great, and the risk for the company is you just get it wrong. So it doesn't do anybody any good. So resist.
Yeah. I think, I mean, I work for a big company as well, and I completely align with your question, because we're seeing it exactly on one of our projects at the moment, and your answer was spot on, and I agree with everything you both just said from my perspective.
It's not new.
I've been working for big firms myself, just because you're low down the tree, you might think that you're too far from the top to make a difference. You make your case, and you know how the business works, and who to speak to, who to go to, and reporting it properly, play their system. That's how you drive the change. And you, just because you're lower down the tree doesn't mean you can't make a difference.
Just from my perspective, to add to that, because I completely agree with what you say, and it's sort of what I see myself as well. In seeing that issue, it's also shown me what I love the most about working in engineering over other industries. Because what I have found, no matter what placement I've been in at work, the team around me, with the exception of one of my placements, but I won't go into that, the people around me, because they understand that and they're all in the same boat, it develops at an engineering level a culture which is such that when things go right, it's a team effort. When things go wrong, there's nowhere near as much of a blame culture as I've come across from speaking to peers in other industries. If something goes wrong, everyone pitches in to fix it, because that's how culture of engineers seems to work from what experience I have so far. So I have a manager at the moment who, as a team, we're under a lot of pressure at the moment, but he'll actually tell us not to do too much. He will be constantly defending himself, defending us, encouraging us.
We're entirely elected. There are ways of doing things simpler, and therefore faster, and therefore safer. What you can't have is the best possible solution in the least possible time and the least possible money. It's faster, but it works. It costs a bit more money. And it's the very experienced engineers whose job it is to tell you how to do that, to make that decision. If they can't do it, they're in no position to tell you to do it. So it's a difficult problem that we've all faced in our careers.
That's great. I just wanted to.
So you feel happy?
At the moment, I'm completely at peace with the fact that certain people
under promise and over deliver. Saying businesses are like, you be clear, you're going to work hard. You know you're going to work hard. But okay, it's going to take you 3 days. But hey, you can do it in 1.5. Everyone's a winner out of it. But if something does go wrong, you've got the buffer as well. It's the same whether you try and deliver to a customer or deliver to yourself.
That's a very good lesson. Very good lesson. Under promise, over deliver. And I think that the reason why we work well when things do go wrong is because we love solving problems, don't we? We just like it. I would like to say thank you very much to the speakers. It's Nick Crosses, Gary Blackman, Richard, Ben Parry, thank you, Noshma, Omar, and Kathleen, Chris Walters, Alan Mann, Valerio, Ignacio, and Dan Green, Philip Isgard, and Oliver Farrell. Thank you very much. Well, this was the Chain 2017. Is there anything you would like to add?
Thank you to yourselves for arranging it.
Absolutely, yeah. Absolutely.
Thank you very much.